Happy Wednesday, UnWoke Nation, and I'd like to welcome you to Season 3, Episode 91 of the UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest information for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host, Tim. How you doing, Timmy?
Great, Rich. Man, it's glad to be back. UnWoke Nation, guys, we've missed talking with you. We apologize for getting started a little late this season with Season 3, but we figured we'd let things marinate a little bit, considering we just had an election. There's been a flurry of activity, but we're going to get to that in a second, guys. We're going to do a little house cleaning here. If you're new to the show or you're looking and you need to find us, guys, we're on all the major podcasting platforms. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, Podchaser. Guys, wherever you get your podcasts, tune in, do a search for us. We got plenty of great content out yet. There's 2 seasons. We're bringing you Season 3 right now.
Yes.
You can also reach us direct at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Guys, and as we talked just a second ago, we recently had our 47th presidential election. Donald Trump won the election. I could actually just say he
beat that ass.
Yeah, he beat it. He waxed it. That was just all there is to it. But yes, we've had a presidential election. Trump is in office. Executive orders are flying out of the White House. I mean, I'm surprised aides and stuff aren't ducking shit left and right.
Wow.
Is coming out, and there are no shortages of new topics around all these executive orders.
I mean, this stuff is, like Tim said, or these things are coming out every day. Like, we will not be running out of content for a very long time, Tim.
Yes. No. We've got 4 years of Republican conservative craziness, whatever you want to call it, guys. We had 4 years of the libtards. Now it's the conservative turn to have a go at trying to undo everything the libtards did the last 4 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So there have been a flurry of executive orders, some of which have already been blocked. I can think of 2 that have already been blocked or partially blocked by our justice system. But I'm going to read through just a few. I'm not going to do all of them. We'll have a link to every single executive order that has been flying out the window, since Trump took office. So one of the executive orders that was signed on January 20th, declaring a national energy emergency. The order says that inadequate energy production poses an unusual and extraordinary threat to the U.S. Okay.
Yep.
That's kind of an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Putting America first in international environmental agreements.
Putting America first? That's a new concept.
So, as Trump did the first go around.
Yep.
Trump is withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. Okay. We've already withdrawn from the World Health Organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. Okay. Trump is pledging to drill, baby, drill. This order establishes that it is U.S. policy for the country to fully avail itself of Alaska's vast lands and resources, and specifically to prioritize developing the state's natural gas reserves.
Yeah, and I know the energy was a really big thing. Actually, I spoke to my mom today, and she says, Rich is like, the gas was actually, it was like some price at $3 something or whatever. So, and I'm like, well, why is it higher or lower where you're from? She said it's actually lower now. And I said, well, okay, well, I'm interested to find out if this is going to go pre-Biden, gas, so which I did look it up, and it actually was at when Trump left the first time, so gas was actually at $2.38 a gallon.
I think I paid $2.87 at a Costco.
Yeah.
The other day, obviously Costco getting a discount, and you have to be a member to get Costco gas, right? I think
she was a little higher than that.
So I know where we're at. I think the pumps were right around $2.90.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, she sounded, it was like, or just over 3.
Yeah.
But that was still cheap for where she lives.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, like I said, it's like the last time when Trump got out of the way, it was at 238.
238.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'd have to look at Gas Buddy or download that app. I have friends
Right.
that use it and see where the cheapest gas is.
Shout out to Gas Buddy. It's always been helpful.
Yep, absolutely. But keeping this train moving, restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce. Okay, so this reinstates a prior executive order President Trump signed near the end of his first administration, which reclassified career federal employees into a new category of political appointees. Okay, and this is something that he had talked about out on the presidential trail when he was campaigning as one of the ways to attempt at draining the swamp,
Right.
if you will, from your career politicians. Moving on from there, holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive governmental information. There was a news story out, I think it might have been late last week, how Trump had revoked the security clearances of dozens of intelligence officials who signed a 2020 letter discrediting or disparaging report about Hunter Biden. Obviously, that's the whole
the famous I think cover where I think the New York Times.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, no. Forgive me, guys. The New York Post had put of all the different people that basically came forward where that they all had lied about it and said that, no, this doesn't exist, only to find out, yes, it actually did exist.
Yeah. Reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service. This order is aimed at increasing the overall efficiency of selecting and recruiting government employees. Agencies are directed to enact a process that prioritizes candidates committed to government efficiency and the ideals of our American republic without consideration of race, sex, or religion.
Yeah. So in other words, we actually want, if I'm understanding this correct, we actually want you to have this position based because you actually can do the job. Not because of your color or sexual orientation or anything like that, where you're actually going to, and I mean, there's people out there actually losing their crap.
Yeah.
That this is actually going on, so, and it's the right thing to do. The American people deserve to know that their tax dollars that is being paid to government employees is going to people who are actually doing the job.
Okay. So this one, absolutely. This one definitely takes aim at the either the executive order or law that Lyndon Johnson had passed about affirmative action within the federal government when it comes to federal employment.
Right.
Okay. So this reverses that particular form of legislation or executive order. Right. We've already done away with affirmative action.
Yeah.
In the corporate setting, this just takes aim at the government side of the house.
See, and the thing is that, especially for government, when it comes to affirmative action, affirmative action has been something that I always had an issue with. And this goes back to even when I was in high school and being able to, at that time, Tim, we were going for a college degree, college application, stuff like that. And even then, I know I was trying to sign up, I think one of the first schools was like Iowa State, and I was trying to go like that, and they were asking, what ethnicity are you? And I'm just kind of thinking to myself like, okay. And I remember even then saying like, I want you judging me because I'm an honor roll student and all this other stuff like that. So I purposely put other. You're not. It's like, I don't want you letting me in just because I'm a minority. What?
You were confused?
I don't think I was.
Okay.
It's pretty sure I've been, black most of my life.
Well, I mean, the only reason I ask is, the UnWoke Show is an affirmative action podcast, right?
Well,
That's why you have a white guy and a black guy sitting here talking.
Well, damn, I'm learning this right now.
You don't have two white people sitting here. You
Right.
got a white and a black guy just sitting
Or
here.
what, like that survey you took? What did that survey say?
Oh, the survey. So, guys, I took this back. The survey that Rich and I are referencing, this is kind of a funny joke. Based on my political views and how I answered questions, and it said that I came back, what was it, partially?
Yeah, slightly white.
Slightly white, which opened up a whole new demographic of people that I didn't know I was associated with. So now I can say things like my people.
Yeah.
And, I don't have to worry about people getting offended and stuff, but...
You should have started the National Slightly White Association.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Slightly white, that is, maybe we can add that.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And also put a link or something.
Well, yeah, we could put a link, or we could just put it under our affirmative action policy here at the UnWoke Show.
There you go.
Yep. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferences.
Okay, now I always can go off on this.
We love DEI on the UnWoke Show.
Okay, because, now we just got done having a brand new White House press secretary. They called the crap out yesterday. And I guess apparently what was you say? It was like $50 million for... I mean, she was naming all this type of stuff where, they had, like, somebody told me I was watching a show once, and they said they were giving like $7 million worth to watch like pigeons walking on a treadmill.
Yeah, and there was something of the effect of how, was it mice or was something else? How they react to taking cocaine or some random study going on there.
Yes, UnWoke Nation America. This is where your tax dollars is going, and yet we have people who are upset because they're like, "Oh no, you can't do something like." Really?
Right.
We're watching a mouse on cocaine. Come on, people.
How is that a good use?
Yes, exactly.
So back in season 1, guys, episode 21, we actually did a story on will diversity, equality, and inclusion finally die?
Let me see. Based on now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So go back, check that episode out. Again, that's episode 21, will diversity, equality, and inclusion, or in this equity and inclusion, finally die? I would say with this particular executive order and the president's own, well, no, let me back that up. Not the president, the entire conservative movement that is running Washington right now, its view on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what this does is the Director of Office Management and Budget and other agencies are directed to terminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. Okay. Agencies must report to the Office of Management and Budget Director a list of all employees in DEI and environmental justice positions, as well as related committees, programs, activities, services, and budgets.
So, if I understand the word, didn't they have like one particular guy that like oversaw all that stuff, and they just got done letting him? I thought I saw.
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah, he got fired in there like that. It's like, what does this have to do with you doing the job? I don't get it.
Well, we know how DEI is all those special snowflakes, or who they think are,
depending on what day it is, or what they recognize themselves
or who
as,
they feel or think that they're a special snowflake. Newsflash, folks, you're not a special snowflake. Okay, just get over yourself.
Right.
But yeah, it's undoing all the coddling, all the nonsense.
Gosh, man.
These notions that these people are in these positions and yet they're feeling marginalized for some reason, or a white guy doesn't know how to talk to a black guy, or a Hispanic doesn't know how to talk to an Asian.
I mean, like that whole presentation Coca-Cola did a while back?
Oh, yeah.
God, Jesus.
So basically what the government is saying here, we're going to unwoke
The government.
Mm-hmm.
Good start.
Yep. Just like that list of companies that was recently published that are getting rid of their DEI practices, the Walmarts, the Fords, the Amazons, the Bud Lights.
Finally.
Yeah.
$3 billion later, you find maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
Didn't we have another story? Was it Dove? I have to check.
What was the story? Gosh, I'm trying to see, guys. This is how it is. I mean, we've
check the archive.
Thanks to you guys and all the support you guys. I mean, the fact that we've gotten to now 91 shows where so we have to actually dig back in the archives and figure out.
So, episode 26, guys, is Dove having a Bud Light moment?
Check it out.
Yep, go check it out. Again, this is right along the DEI lines there. So, we're finally unwoking the government. Now, this does not target our service members that are of LGBTQ affiliation.
Right.
There was concern that I think there were some 15,000 I had read military personnel that were associated in some capacity with some part of the LGBTQ plus ... space / / and then some. I can't keep going. It's too painful.
There's too much alphabet there.
Defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. I'll give you one guess what this one is. You saw it on Twitter earlier. It was a nice little bar graph.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, this has to do with the fact that there are only
Go ahead, say it.
Two genders.
Two genders, yes. Men
and women. Yes. So in other words, what we learned, so as of 2 months ago, unbeknownst to us, and also there were 71 according to the bar graph.
Right.
And then miraculously, it went back to 2. Yeah. Is that called common sense?
You would think. Yes. So we are back. I think for some of us who actually were tuned into reality, we always thought we were a 2-gender environment. I find it kind of ironic that our president asked to actually issue an executive order.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yes. That we actually have to say that.
Right. It's like, I need you to understand that I have brown eyes.
Yes.
I can clearly see you have brown eyes.
Yes.
But if you could recognize that, that'd be okay.
Yes.
Oh, except for tomorrow, because I reckon myself as having blue eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This one has always been something that I found incredibly funny. And this was a late promise from the president.
Okay.
Restoring names that honor American greatness.
Yes.
Okay. This order directs the Secretary of the Interior in the next 30 days to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and Alaska's Denali Mountain, Mount McKinley, after former President William McKinley.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was originally Mount
he literally said that, I think, at his inaugural speech.
Yeah, it was in Alaska, Mount McKinley. Okay. It was there, and then somebody, got their panties in a bunch, and it had to be changed to Denali Mountain or something like that.
The fuck is Denali? The fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah. I think this also falls right in line with the renaming of American bases after former Confederate.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
What they took away.
It feels like just about everything. Anything.
Yeah,
that was
anything
Confederate related.
Here's the thing on what you see.
Anything that had to do with history that may have been that may be associated with any sort of racism, even though that's not,
Right.
while the Confederates wanted their slaves, they were fighting because of the taxation piece.
Right.
Right.
So I think the whole thing we're dealing with this as well is just that there's this insane ideology that if we just eliminate anything that has to do with I literally had someone ask me, you mentioned about the Confederate flag, we talk about Confederate flag and all. So I asked like, Rich,
Dukes of Hazzard, come on
yeah,
now.
exactly. So okay. Well, hot pursuit. Okay. But it's like, I had someone who was asking me in regards to, because I think at the time when I was being asked, was it I think Haley was still governor of South Carolina.
Yeah.
South Carolina, for those of you guys outside, was one of the last states to actually have the Confederate flag on their state flag. And then eventually they went ahead and had a vote and they ended up getting rid of it. So I had some people that were asking me and they said, Rich, what do you feel about, the Confederate flag? Should they just completely stop not having them or anything like that? No, I said no. And they were like, whoa, they were kind of shocked when I said. I said, well, here's the reason why. I said, the reason why is because, unfortunately, although it was a bad portion of our history, it is still considered U.S. history.
Right.
And if we want to make sure that we do not repeat bad history, we have to remember where it comes from. Now, for me, it's like, since I actually was able to take the time to go to Atlanta, and for those of you guys who might have the chance, definitely go down to Atlanta, Georgia, and there's actually a Civil War museum. And I promise you, you could stay there for 2 hours like I did, and you will not be able to see anything. But you will come out of there looking at the Civil War in a different way. Not from the southern aspect or the north, because, they do that museum does a very thorough understanding of all the memorabilia, all the stuff that's...
So there's no whitewashing like they're
No.
Like
it is flat. Guys, I literally saw bayonets that still had blood on it.
I said whitewashing.
Yeah. Okay. But it's like, I literally saw that type of stuff. No, I don't think people really understand the magnitude of how bad that war really was. But
oh, sure.
But when we think about these crazy libtards, where they just, we're just gonna get rid of all type of slavery and anything like that. It's like they would probably go down there and said, okay, you need to destroy all this stuff. No, that's part of American history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to be able to remember that. It's not a hard thing to understand. You just have to unwrap a brain cell. I'm amazed it's like that. So I'm glad at least that we're getting back to normal. So like, okay, it is Mount McKinley.
Yep.
So it is Mount McKinley. We have to meet our history. Stop trying to idealize criminals, and that's going to whole different story, and making statues out of them.
Yeah,
we're just going to call the fucking shit as it is.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yeah.
So, moving on from that one, okay, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you saw the meme on Twitter, but this particular executive order makes it okay to say retard again.
Yeah, there's a lot of words.
So, but before we get down this tangent, this juvenile tangent, I'm going to read exactly what the executive order says. It says, President Trump asserts the federal government's commitment to the First Amendment right to freedom of speech and bars federal employees from interfering with that right. The order also directs the Attorney General to investigate and seek remedial actions for the federal government's activities in the last 4 years that were inconsistent with this order's promise.
Because, like us, we're in the media. And so with us being in the media,
we say retard.
Yeah, we say a lot of stuff in there like that would probably make most libtards crawl up in a fetal position in a safe space, sucking their thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what we do. It's called the UnWoke Show.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we have a president and we have people in Congress that are going to say, it's like, no, you're not going to sit there and have to deal with cancel culture and all that other crap. Was it the gosh, I keep saying her name, the lady who was on the Mandalorian, and she spoke against Gina Carino. She spoke again like that, and all of a sudden, a character who was a great character on the Mandalorian.
She was a great.
She's a great character. All of a sudden, she says one thing on Twitter, and they just completely canceled her out. You know, so because she wasn't going with the whole Hollywood agenda and all the other stuff.
You know, that's a great point. Okay. And we're going to stop right there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that we're referencing Gina Carino brings up the fact that you and I, before the show in the lounge, right, we were talking about Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
And the latest Marvel flick coming out, which is what, Captain America, Brave New World.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in this particular, or if you followed Marvel, let me back this up, you know that the Captain America mantle has been passed from Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Who was the original Captain America, to Anthony Mackie.
Right.
Right. As the next Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anthony Mackie said in a post.
Pissed me off.
That, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Captain America doesn't really represent America as much as it represents what essentially like a man's word, his values, principles. I think it was the way that it was being directed in the sense of
sounds woke as can be.
Yeah, it was bigger than what it was. Now he did go on to say that, you know, he's incredibly grateful to be playing Captain America. It's been a, you know, part of an honor in his career. He did submit another statement because he did catch a lot of hell about that.
Well, it's just because, you know, Captain America is one of those most iconic type of Marvel characters. And for somebody, you know, and it's like what you just said, is, and we were talking about this, like I said, in the lounge too, where it's just kind of like the whole Marvel franchise has been in a major dump lately.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they have done so much to try to make everything inclusive and, you know, things being inclusive and being woke, or characters that have been a particular type. All of a sudden we want to make it this type, and also because that's the inclusive thing to do, as we do talk about the DEI.
Right.
And doing all that type of stuff. And also, and it's just been in the tanker, and the movies have sucked. They've sat there and they tried to make one movie where I think it was all female characters or something like that. And you kind of figure it's like, okay, you know, they're trying to make it. And they literally said, I never saw the movie, you know, but I'm hearing from people who are regular.
They weren't good.
Yeah. They said it was craptacular.
Yeah. So, you know, again, again, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship, right? Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid.
Yes.
Okay. So this order immediately places a 90-day pause on foreign aid or assistance to U.S. allies while the administration evaluates current aid programs. During this time, agencies will determine whether to resume, modify, or cease foreign assistance programs at the end of the freeze.
Yeah. Now, see, this makes me think back to when I don't know if Donald Trump had went over to Ukraine or something like that. This was during the campaign, but he spent some time to go see Ukrainian President Vladimir. Gosh, I'm just drawing a blank here. Sorry, guys. No. He wasn't going. No, he was going to go see the Ukrainian president.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Zelensky. Sorry, I was trying to remember. And I remember, I guess after they had their talk, and we're not just in the middle of the campaign, and they both came out and they were going to do a press conference, and I remember seeing Donald Trump talking there to the press and talking about, we had a good talk, stuff like that. But then when you look over at Vladimir Zelensky,
oh, that's right. He's like, oh shit,
his face,
we are fucked.
His face looked like he looked like his dog just died. And I mean, and the thing was that, because I think I wasn't hearing exactly what maybe was up, but just look like if you would have sat there and just turned down the mute and just kept your entire attention on Vladimir Zelensky, I had a pretty good idea based on without going into the details of those talks. That he basically said, look, Trump saying, look, I will let you know, if I become president, I'm shutting down your shit. Okay? So you might as well brace your ass for it.
Yep.
Because I get back in that White House like that. All this billions of dollars worth of taxpayers' money, which, by the way, buddy, you will never be able to pay it back.
Yep.
Ever. We know this.
We're turning the faucet off.
We are turning the faucet off.
Yep.
And you will have to figure this out. Now, there's one or two things that are going to happen here. Either the other Vladimir is going to walk his happy ass down here and take over the place because his ships are already right there, so in the sea.
Yep.
His largest ships.
Yeah.
Okay? Or we'll get you two of these together and try to figure out how we're going to end this, and we better end it in 24 hours. Okay?
Yeah.
Good
luck with that.
But it's like, that's a good thing. See, this goes back what I said again, Tim. This is once again where at least the American people know shutting down the type of spending that we're doing internationally to know it's like, look, we're going to take the time to say, American people, we know that there's lots of money being spent. That's the whole point of Doge. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Where are we overspending? Where are we sending stuff like that? That son of a gun before Joe Biden, before he even left, had to say, oh, I'm about to be out in like 48 hours. Let me make sure I can spend another $13 billion and send it over to Zelensky.
Right.
It's like, really? I mean, so no, I think that's a great job. That is a president.
And we've been saying that for a long time. We just need to shut off the fountain.
Just shut it off. It's like, what's it, was over a year? 2 years? The Russian-Ukrainian war.
Oh, this has been going on.
Started in April. It was in spring. That's when they invaded.
I think we're coming on 3 years.
Yeah, 3. Okay, so we got 3 years.
What, close to 2? Did we see a figure? It was like almost 200 billion.
Right.
In aid, and how many times could the wall have
and airplanes and stuff like that? That's probably what, a couple $100 million per plane,
right? That we've seen and stuff like so. Yeah, that needs to stop. And Zelensky, and we don't want to get down too far down this.
Yeah, we don't.
But the point I was going to make was how Zelensky had made a point that he needs American boots on the ground to help fight this war.
The hell you are, man.
Yeah,
we ain't doing that.
And so, guys, our last executive order, which is, if you haven't been watching the news, if you turn it on, it's going to be all over the news. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. This order denies citizenship to certain U.S.-born children whose parents are not U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents. President Trump asserts these children are not subject to U.S. jurisdiction and therefore not covered by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which guarantees citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States.
Yeah, and I know this is the biggest thing because right now we have, if I understand, I think the last count when it comes to people being about the deportation stuff that. I think as of right now, I think at least I've heard in the last 48 hours, we've had over 3,000 deportations going, whether it's to Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, whatever the case may be.
Oh, I thought you were going to just say Chicago alone.
Oh, well, yeah, probably, Chicago. So, it's like, they're going to come through me, Mr. Pritzker. No, shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's like, yeah, got that going. But here's the Tim, that was, what you just explained was something that was used to game the system for a very, very long time. I grew up watching this stuff. We learned the game pretty easily on how it was to come here. And that was one of the biggest options. And it's like, I just, it's common sense. I don't.
Yeah. And, this speaks to a campaign trail promise that Trump had as well. And, he campaigned on the border crisis and everything and all the illegals that were coming in and the illegals that are here and stuff. And truth be told, we're seeing a lot of nationalist views and actions taking place. I think in this scenario, though, focusing on our house
Yeah.
and getting our house in order before we can help the rest of the world, it really makes the most sense.
It does.
Right?
It really, really does. And unfortunately, so for 4 years, we had a president who did not put Americans first.
And you can almost say 8 years.
Yeah, basically.
Right? During the Obama administration.
Yeah, basically you can call it what, Obama's third term?
Yeah.
Some people would say. Yeah.
Obama's third term.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, yeah, just not putting the American people first.
Oh, I mean, that's what, 2 terms? That's 8 years plus Biden's plus Obama's third term. So 12 years.
Yeah. 12 out of 16 years, basically, you could say were ran by Democrats.
Yeah, the libtards.
Yeah. And you kind of wonder why you had people going like, this isn't going to change. We probably need to do something about this.
Right.
And the fact that it's one, you sit there and say, oh, I'm going to go do this, that, and the other. And then the first 100 days goes by, nothing happened like that. No. It is now January 29th, okay? This man has been president for 9 days.
Right.
Okay? And we've seen more signings than at an all-star game.
Yes.
Okay? So that says a lot for any president. I don't care. Just take Trump out of it.
Right.
Any president that's willing to say, like, dude, not only have you hired me, I'm going to get to work on day 0 and do like that. And this is what we've seen.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
2 of the executive orders have been partially blocked.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody should build a website and keep track of all the lawsuits over the next 4 years that are going to get filed based on what Trump is trying to do in some capacity. Okay.
Wasn't there a company that he's literally there up at the podium during his inauguration, and they were just like, what was it? It was something like that. Like they were ready to file as soon as he said it.
Oh, yeah. They had it in hand.
Right.
So imagine this website is just like the federal deficit. Okay. It's tracking the lawsuits, and that number is just churning away over the next 4 years, right? The national lawsuit.
Right.
It's not a deficit, obviously. The number of lawsuits challenging Trump initiatives or challenging Congress or something. Because if I'm the Supreme Court, I'm gonna be like, fuck, we're gonna be busy.
Yep. It's and that's the thing about it. And I'm sure they said, like, look, that crap's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. They're gonna try to come up with everything that they possibly can, or it's like, it's kind of, it's like, do you care about this country getting better or not?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you care about the country getting better or not? Or worse? Like, you want us to deal with your bull crap for another 4 years that you've been doing, which obviously the American people said that they didn't want, and they want changes, energy and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so, well, you can't do that. It's like, well,
no,
yes,
we actually can.
You actually can. So, anyway.
So, UnWoke Nation, we're going to leave it right there, guys. It's been a pleasure, as always, speaking to you again. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms. Tune in, like, subscribe. You can reach us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, man, a pleasure as always. And remember, UnWoke Nation, stay unwoke.
See you next time.